Welcome back to game number 2 of this series between two great players. We have ZVZ here, and winning the first game, spawning in the lower right-hand corner here of Frost from Isuru Gaming HyperX. We have ByRada, Blue Zerg player, and his opponent down 1-0 in this series from Infinity Gaming. We have Ukko, our red Protoss player. Dude, why don't you can you give us a brief recap? What happened in the previous game, and what adjustments do you think Ukko needs to make in order to force a different outcome here in game number 2?
I think Ukko's going too much Blink Stalker, too much Gateway Army, and Hydras are just tearing through Stalkers. It's just like, I think Ukko's just messing up on his timings. He needs to have something else under his belt other than Blink Stalkers. I think that's the only tool that he has. It's like, okay, I have a screwdriver. How am I going to screw in this bolt? That's what it felt like last game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I tend to be totally in agreement with that. Like, I feel like Rada did a great job scouting all of the things that were going on, and he knew exactly what he needed to do. He had great creep spread all the way out in front of his base, which enabled him to take engagements away from where he was mining, so you don't get into that that trap that we saw Roach King get into, where your reinforcements are getting cut off and you can't take any engagements with your full army because you're constantly losing units one or two at a time. The positioning by Rada was also amazing. I mean, he had a concave the size of Denver there, and it was all on creep and so many Hydras. He was able to buy enough time by poking forward and delaying that attack so that he got 1-1 to finish, or I think it was 2-2 to finish, and then upgrades were even, so they're basically on even ground there. And the more time you buy against the Blink Stalker all in like that, especially if you have the right tech and you're just trying to get as many Hydras out as possible, the better you're going to do against it. So I'd say it was read and handled perfectly by ByRada, and at that point there's just not too much you can do as a toss player in that position.
Yeah, and Ukko's going for a Gateway Expand again. He needs to kind of do something else in his build other than stay to his normal Blink Stalkers, because that just gets worse as the game goes on.
Yeah, it's a very powerful timing if you can nail it like right when it hits. But if you're delayed a little bit, and especially if your opponent has a good read on it, it's as you said, it's diminishing returns as the game progresses. So two lanes moving across the field here for ByRada. Speed is on the way as both players move over to scout. Rada knows that they're in cross positions. His overlords have already checked there, checking the Zelnaga Tower. As these lings make it their way over, they will be greeted by a Mothership Core, a Zealot, and a wall of 2 gateways.
I wouldn't be surprised that we'd see more Blink Stalkers this game, and I don't think Rada would be too surprised either. I think he might be expecting, he might blind counter, but I'd like to see Ukko go into the Robo or Stargate tech. Like, I think Stargate would do so good because it's just not what his style is at all.
Yeah,
it's not a style.
I would like to see potentially use of this whole high ground, low ground over on this side of the map here. Just because if you're going to go Blink Stalkers, there's a lot of different ways to use them. And like, yeah, maybe your screwdriver can't screw in the bolt, but you know, sometimes you can use a screwdriver as a hammer, or you could use a screwdriver as like, I don't know, like a prison weapon or something like that. So just be a little bit more creative with it and see if you can get the maximum advantage out of it. So rather than just doing a full frontal like attack, use the Blink Stalkers more as a tool for harass, if that's the way you want to open, and not just commit your entire like sort of 2-base Blink Stalker all in there, and that'll let you leverage more. The Mothership Core is going to be careful. 2 queens out here. Oh, 1 shot left there for the Mothership Core, but pulling back just in time. Meanwhile, Zerglings streaming across the map, going to try to catch this Zealot on its way back. They see the proxy pylon here. And Mothership Core is going to try to defend this pylon, except I think these Lings will be able to get it in time. Meanwhile, the other Lings move forward. They're going to be hiding up here, hoping to skirt into the base. Or we see a Forge, and there's a Robo also down here in the main. So I think you got your wish a little bit here, Cube. We are going to see a little bit of different play from Ukko, as those Blink Stalkers didn't quite work out as well as he wanted.
But if you do recall, he has opened up like this again and went back into Blink Stalkers. And we do have another pause coming down from ByRada. It looks like he's lagging again. Or it's the phone. I'm gonna be right back and grab a bit of water.
Alright, we have a pause here. It looks like ByRada has an important phone call that he needs to take. So we're going to give him 2 minutes and move on from there. So in these 2 minutes, just a big shout out to Internet, who's graciously donated their server space to sponsor our website. If you want to check out the website for Infinity Gaming, it is inf-gaming.net. That is inf-gaming.net. Great way to get in touch with us if you need to. You can find out schedules there for tournaments and browse the forums, I believe. If you'd like to join Infinity Gaming, that's a great place to learn how to do it. We're always happy to have new members, and it's a very vibrant community. There's lots of people active. And it looks like players are off to races. Zergling's poking in a little bit here. Mothership Core coming back to shoo them off. Zealot's moving out. There is a cannon here in the front, so this circling aggression will not last for too long. Tries to focus down a sentry there, but unable to do so. +1 missile and +1 attack being researched for both players respectively. Meanwhile, third going down back at home. About to finish in a few more seconds here from ByRada, focusing down these rocks in the front of his base, and then choosing not to just move off with those roaches. Spine Crawler being repositioned forward a bit, and roaches with speed and +1 missile are moving out right now. So I think ByRada has potentially spotted a bit of a window of opportunity here to be a little bit aggressive. So we're probably going to see a Roach push aiming for, here comes the Burrow as well. So Roach push aiming to hit right when +1 and speed hits as well. He'll have Burrow probably shortly through that engagement as well. So giving those Roaches even more utility. A little bit of a pylon cannon wall going down here at the third. And I think this play is going to be pretty effective by ByRada. Just because this expansion is a little bit greedy, and there's only a few sentries and zealots here to defend this at the moment. So I'm pretty sure Ukko is not aware that ByRada is going this heavy into roaches. He does have a robotics bay back at home, as well as the Twilight Council. Twilight Council probably only for upgrades at this point, though we will see. Thermal Lance is being Corona boosted out, so the question will be, will Ukko be able to get a Colossus up in time, as he spent a lot of his effort here econing up this third base, which is great. However, he's going to be faced with a bit of a strong push here from these roaches. Tunneling Claws, 9 more roaches, and Burrow about to finish here. Starting to work away at the rocks in front of Ukko's base. One roach poking up to see what is there. Spots a bunch of sentries, and Ukko knows that there's definitely an attack coming. Roaches streaming across the map now to join this fight. Mothership Core moving down, starting to work away at these roaches. I think it takes something like 18 shots from Mothership Core to kill a roach. So
the Colossus is out though, so Ukko's perfectly safe now. He doesn't have any detection though.
I would not call this perfectly safe. I would call this very dangerous at the moment. Burrow roaches are, the tunneling claws are about to finish here. Force fields do absolutely nothing against roaches with tunneling claws. Just checking around to see if there's any pylons down here. Meanwhile, more reinforcements are streaming by. Mothership Core just gonna rain down some fun on these heads of these roaches. Roaches burrow, no detection here, so forcing out a lot of energy without almost any gain. Thermal Lance now finishing. Another Colossus is on the way. This window of damage is going to expire shortly. However, Tunneling Claw's now just finished, and this is where the fun begins. Focusing down the Overseer. Another Colossus on the field. He's going to need an Observer. That's the next thing coming out of this. Burrowed Roaches push forward and go out. Army push back to the third cot. A little bit out of position. Colossus are going to be able to walk over these force fields, no problem. Roaches starting to focus down the front wall, but being pulled back a little bit out of position. Burrowing, pulling forward. Observer is on the field here, so they are able to see this. Focusing down the Colossi here. Colossi fall, both of them fall. More Roaches in production, 10 more on the way, streaming away. Ukko just getting tipped back, and Ukko leaves the game, no GG. ByRada takes game number 2 by storm.